Welcome to
Half Past Cha.
Look at us. Look at us. This is crazy, everybody. I can't believe we are starting a podcast. If you don't know who we are, my name is Saketu Patel.
I'm Hallie Patel.
And we're married, obviously, with our last names being the same. We're going to take a sip. Okay, ready? 1, 2. Yummy.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. That's good.
One thing you'll notice is there's a cat back here. Her name is Sylvie.
She's our little angel.
And she's going to be playing around the entire time.
There we go.
So just keep an eye on that. We're first going to introduce who we are. You kind of already know what our names are, but who are we?
Who are we?
What do we do? Why do you need to listen to us? Why do you want to listen to us? So, Hallie, who are you?
Well, my name is Hallie. My full-time role, I'm a clinical data scientist. I work at the same company as K2, but it's huge, so we don't actually work with each other. Common misconception. And yeah, that's my full-time. On the side, I do photography, and we stream, and I love cooking. I love exercising. I love doing all kinds of things, and I love listening to podcasts and music and everything. So here we are. And I love cats. I love my cat, Sylvie.
Yes, I do love cats. And I am also at the same company as Hallie over here, but I am a associate workflow consultant. So we go all around the United States. I do a lot of traveling to labs. It's really fun. I really enjoy it. And then also I've been making YouTube videos for 10 years now, since I've been in high school, which is crazy to think about. And, why not just start a podcast on top of that? We also stream, like Hallie said. And then I have a side business called S. Patel Productions. If you don't already know, it is a videography company where we do weddings. We can do small promotional businesses.
Really anything.
Also, just like talking headshots, stuff like that. It's really fun. It's a good way to get out of the work zone. Mm-hmm. So that's who we are. That's what we do. And this podcast is mainly going to be talking about different topics.
Ranging from...
This podcast is going to mainly be talking about our relationship. We'll have some guests come on some days to talk about their life. So it's going to be a very different...
We'll have a range of topics, basically. We're going to do all kinds of things. And one thing I think that is important to note is that K2 is pretty big on TikTok. If you guys haven't seen him on TikTok, you should go check him out. He's got almost 36,000 followers, which is nuts. And
nuts.
The biggest thing that has drawn attention and traction to K2's page is our relationship, because we come from two different cultures. There are a lot of people who also have that going on, and they love to hear about how K2 is able to navigate through all that. So,
yes. So overall, this podcast is for everyone, but especially people who are going through similar situations as us. Me being Indian, Hallie being white. It's kind of this misconception that it's not possible to do that, especially with Indian culture and all of that going on. So this is a little bit of our explanation to a therapy session, I guess, for us.
Well, yeah, and, obviously we're married. We've been married almost a year and a half now. I think married couples could get something out of it, or married couples could get something out of this. And we'll be talking about, honestly, all kinds of things, our life experiences, our married life experiences, coming together as two different cultures, current news topics sometimes. Who knows, that could be fun. And yeah, honestly, all kinds of things. And so that's kind of where the name stems from. Half Past Cha.
Yeah. So let's say we meet at 4:30. So what's the meaning of 4:30? Let's go back. What's the meaning of 4:30? What even is that? It doesn't make any sense. But look, if you're saying, hey, let's meet at 4:30, that means what? You're meeting at 4:30.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So 4:30. 4:30 means, hey, let's meet at 4:30. We're having cha, and we're meeting. Okay, that's what that means. That's what's going to happen. We're going to try and do this bi-weekly, and it'll be a good time. And Hallie said something about this is a really good opportunity for married couples to listen. It's also a really good opportunity for single people to listen.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You kind of have a perspective on what it's going to be like when you're in a relationship, or maybe just tips and tricks on how to handle certain situations.
Yeah.
And you're prepped for that kind of outcome. So that's kind of what we're going at.
Yeah. And so you might be wondering, as you're looking at the title, Half Past Chai. Well, Saketu, you can explain that a little bit more. It's called cha.
Yeah, we pronounce it cha because that's just how you pronounce it. But chai is like the term that everybody knows, so I just put it as
Chai latte.
Yeah, everyone says
Yeah.
chai latte. It's not. It's cha. So we're drinking cha right now. So it's half past cha. That's how I'm always going to pronounce it, but it's spelled chai. So yeah, you're just gonna have to deal with that.
Well, yeah, and so we have it right here. I made it, as you've probably seen in the intro. But Skate recorded a video of me making cha, and that is going to be a big part of this podcast. And we love drinking it, and we're also kind of, drinking tea. So it's like we could spill the tea on certain things, if you know what if you're
yeah.
catching onto what I'm saying. So
Oh yeah. So we're
Yeah.
gonna get started now. The first podcast, which is this one you're listening to right now, is the topic of the first year being married.
woo.
Wow, it's a big one to unpack. We had a pretty difficult time in our first year. Hallie just started a new job. I was dealing with this whole house building process.
Yeah,
and
so we built this house, and
And-
that's a lot. That was a lot at the time. Being engaged, having the house built, me starting a new job, K2 essentially pretty much starting a new job as well. I mean, kind of. And so, yeah, I mean, it was really tough, and it definitely put a lot of strain on our relationship. But it was at the same time, because we were so stressed about everything, it just made other things so much harder to do.
Yes. So that was the thing, is like I wasn't really thinking that much throughout the time. I was just so focused on how are we going to afford all of this? How are we going to do all of these little things? And don't even get me started on the name change process, okay? That was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do for Hallie.
Well, yeah,
And-
there are just so many components and things that you have to do when you get married, or and let's just mention too. I'm 24 years old. I was 22 at the time that we got married, and
Yeah.
we were 24. Sketchy's 25 right now, and it's like I don't feel like I'm old enough to be doing any of these things, and it's still just so surreal to me that we built our own house. We've been married almost a year and a half. We go on all kinds of trips together. We stream. We're starting a podcast. It's crazy,
Yeah, it feels like life right now is moving very fast,
Oh my
but
gosh,
it's
it
good.
is.
It's a good thing. I think it's a good thing because I will keep creating until something sticks. I'm not gonna stop ever. So until something sticks, hopefully this podcast you're watching. So share it with your friends and family. It'd be nice for others to listen to our story, and maybe something can learn something from it. Somebody can learn something from it.
So I guess some of the things that we wanted to really kind of cover is what was hard for us, which we've already kind of talked about, but we can talk about that a little bit more. What we've learned, what we love, and how we've always made it work, and why we always come back together at the end of the day. That's a lot, I know.
It's a lot. So let's just start from the beginning. Okay, we got married and we move into a brand new house. First, before even we moved into the brand new house, we're going on honeymoon. Honeymoon was great. It was the first time we ever got to do anything alone.
Well, yeah, any trip we've gone on together has always been a family trip, or like with friends, we've never gone on a trip just us two. That was crazy. I mean, I remember we got married. So we got married in September of 2021. We had 2 weddings. We had an American style wedding. We had a Indian style wedding. And we essentially spread that out into 3 different days, 3 completely different days.
So we were tired
That
and we
was
just slept
exhausting.
14 hours on our honeymoon. First 14 hours we just slept.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like when we got on our honeymoon, I remember we got off the flight, we went to Key West, we went to Miami after, but we were driving through the Keys, and I just remember looking at Saketu like, what do we do now? We're married? We just got married. We're alone. We're going to come back to this house. And it's like, just our lives are so different.
Yeah.
After that. After this whole thing, it's insane.
And like me and Hallie both lived with our parents up until this moment. So through college, everything, we were just living at home. And to be able to come home and have to buy groceries and have to make our own food, which I never did. So she had to kind of literally start from scratch on how to learn to make all of these different
For two
foods.
people.
For two people.
I was
not
used
just
to
one
making
person.
stuff for myself, but then I'm, thinking, oh, well, I have to feed another person.
Yeah. So it
This
was
is crazy.
it was just
and we
one of
both have
those-
different tastes. Oh my gosh! So not to plug my food kitchen page on Instagram, but Hallie G's Kitchen, I post all kinds of recipes that I make.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's you should definitely follow. But overall, it was just insane to have. For me, at least, I was super frugal. So first grocery trip was like $300, and I was like freaking out.
Just to get the essentials.
And
oh my gosh, I remember that was like our first. Well, I guess we did that like a week before we got married. I just wanted to come fill like our pantry and stuff, so we'd at least have something to come home to,
Yeah.
Because I
And
didn't want to have nothing here when we came back.
overall, I just could not fathom how much that was, and for me, it's just like I can't believe how much it actually costs to get
To
started.
live. Well,
just
yeah.
to start, right? You got your grocery bill. You got to get mats and stuff. You got to get rugs.
Mats?
Yeah, you got to get mats for your like bathroom.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean,
like
yeah.
bathroom mats. You got to
Which-
get your toilet mats. You got to get, toilet cleaner. You got to get glass cleaner. You got
Well,
to
yeah.
get all of these tiny little things that you wouldn't ever consider.
You don't realize how much.
Maybe it's just because I was living at home and I never actually
Yeah.
cleaned. I didn't ever do laundry. My mom always did laundry.
Yeah.
Hallie, same thing. She never did laundry. I still do laundry here.
Yeah. So definitely one thing that we've learned is, wow, it's crazy. I mean, this also comes from us. Like, we lived at home during college because we only had a 30-minute commute, and we were just like, well, we'll save money. Like, it's not really that big of a deal for me to live on campus right now. And then we just kind of never did, because I thought I would, but I just was like, school's close enough, I don't have to. But I guess the biggest thing we learned just is that, all that goes into a marriage and making it work, because I know we've only been married a year and a half, but being married is hard because some days are great. Sometimes
Yeah.
there are times where I don't know how I'm going to get through the day. And then, just in general, how crazy it is to live with somebody else and merge your lives, essentially. And also to have, just like you were saying, just everything that goes into owning a house or an apartment or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into it.
It's
And
crazy.
having a yard. Our yard's pretty big, and I remember the first time I saw him cut the grass. It was so funny. Like, we went back to work the day after we came back from our honeymoon, which it was a little chaotic trying to get everything in sorts after having this insane 2-week period of 1 week being honeymoon and the other essentially being like our entire wedding week, as people call it. So, yeah, I just remember it being so surreal for a few months after that. I just was like in another world, basically. It was crazy. And yeah, it was definitely hard coming back, and everything's different. Like, my whole life had changed. Our lives had changed completely. Again, I'm living 30 minutes away now from the place that I grew up. That was a really big change for me. Away from all the things that I loved, my favorite Target, the park that I loved to go to, the park that we'd picnic at, all our favorite spots that we'd go to. We moved, I know 30 minutes away, it's not that far, but it's not convenient now for us to be like, oh, you want to go to the park? Oh, it's a 30-minute drive. And then, I know that sounds maybe not that crazy, but then that's like an hour of driving there and back, and like we have to kind of map our day around things. And that's just saying if we wanted to go to, the place that we used to live. But it was so crazy because our lives had changed, and it was really hard for me. It was really hard for like 7 months.
I would say 7 months. Yeah, it was pretty difficult.
Because it was before our year anniversary. It was before that I was like, okay, I feel, and on top of that too, we had to make this house into a home. I didn't just want it to be a blank, like it's a blank slate essentially, but it's not me. Like, it doesn't have parts of me in it. It didn't have pictures up, and that was something that was hard too.
And for me, I was like, why would we need to do that? Like, I was just like confused as like, it just didn't make sense. Like, well, I think it's a home. But then you really get into perspective, like when Hallie started putting things up, it did feel cozier,
Oh yeah.
warmer, and it just was better in every way.
Warmer is a good way to put it. It just felt warmer and homier and cozy and just special to both of us.
Yeah.
Because
So, do you think, how long do you think it took you to start liking where we live?
that's an interesting question because this is an area that even growing up I never came to. And so like I'd never known anything about it. And it essentially was a truck stop for a while and it's just now developing into its own town. So like I mean especially I mean we've only lived here again like a year and a half, but when we moved here there was really nothing here. There were a few things. We have one grocery store still, and it's the biggest it's conveniently the biggest one in all of our state, and yet they're always out of stock of everything because it's the only one within 15 minutes for everybody, so everybody goes there. So that one's crazy. But anyways, I don't know, it took me a while to really start to like everything, and now, you know, they're getting more developed. They're building a library walking distance from our house, which is sick.
That's gonna be
so
pretty cool.
I literally the day that I heard that there's going to be a library put up that I can walk to was the coolest thing ever. And it's like I don't know, every month or so, or like I find new reasons that this is home to me and it's cozy and it's a special place for us to live.
Do you think in your first year of living here, you started to find new hobbies that made you like this place more?
I guess. I mean, I was pretty much doing the same things. I love to walk and run, and the fact that we have so many paths here within our neighborhood or like going out to trails or whatever, that's really nice. So like that's definitely something I enjoyed. And
What about reading?
reading, oh yeah, I never read a book. And I know that sounds crazy. I only read for school purposes. I never read for fun. And now I love reading because I go to the library the next town over. And I love to spend time there. I could spend hours there. I get coffee. I go there. I just have some me time. I read. That's something
Hence
that I
all
really
the
enjoy.
reading chairs that we have.
Yeah. This is actually my new chair, my newest chair that I got for the corner over there in the living room. It's my reading corner, my cozy corner.
We kind of gave you a pretty good overview. This first year, we had a lot of arguments, especially about money.
Well, it was just about, it's just about dumb things when you're figuring your
Yes.
lives out. It's just so different. You're just trying to process everything. So the first year, I mean, and that's what everybody says. We've had so many married couples come up to us and be like, oh, how's married life? We say, great. And they say, oh, so how was your first year? So they know this is a thing.
I think it's also that first year we had different habits. So, like, I
yeah.
had a habit of,
All kinds of weird things.
I had a lot of different habits. That
Sleeping with your socks on.
I slept with my socks on.
well, you
People
still
don't
do.
like that.
You still do. But I mean, we've learned to deal with that. That's fine. I don't care.
I sometimes don't put things back where they need to go.
Oh,
I do a lot of different things that annoyed Hallie, and Hallie did a few things that annoyed me.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that's funny.
So sometimes,
Love to hear about those.
listen, if the laundry is done, you fold it and put it away. That's what I was always, you
Yeah.
fold it and put it away immediately. Sometimes it sits a little longer than it needs to. Anyways,
Like an hour max, everyone.
Anyways,
All right.
these are just
But-
little topics that we had disagreements with.
Yeah.
And it caused little small arguments that turned into big arguments that made us not like each other for a little bit, okay? And so that first year was all of that, okay? So now that you got a little bit
just
of an
the
interview,
dumb little things.
now you guys have a little bit of an introduction to how that first year went.
But I want to say too, the first year was also great because we do love each other. I want to make that known. It's not like we were like every single day. It's just like these dumb little things that when you first start living, like when you first have a roommate, like say you're in college, right? And you have your dorm roommate, and then they like leave their shoes in front of the, like something stupid, right? You're gonna be kind of annoyed about it, but Skate and I are comfortable enough to tell each other those things, and so that's also,
Good thing, bad thing,
yeah.
but
we had a great first year of being married. I want to make that very clear as well.
it was good.
And it's only getting better.
The one thing I was scared of that she just mentioned was like Hallie becoming my roommate. That was something I didn't want to happen.
Oh, like we're just kind of living together.
We're just kind of living. We're
Well,
not like being in a relationship again. You know what I mean? Like going on dates and stuff. That first year, guys, we did not go on regular dates. We didn't do that.
I mean, we would have date night, but I don't know.
It wasn't the same as we do now. Like we've learned a lot since then.
Yeah.
To where now we prioritize coffee dates, date night,
which is
and-
amazing.
and make sure that we take time for us.
Yeah.
Did you just burp?
Yeah. I literally.
You should have done it into the mic.
Oh my god.
But-
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. That's. I guess one of the. Do we want to talk about the Hawaii incident
No,
first, and then we
no.
can go into what we've
Okay,
learned?
fine.
Because I have a lot of stuff.
So
I
our
can
first
talk about.
year, it was difficult. Now our first year is over, and we are taking our 1-year anniversary trip, and we take it to
Hawaii.
specifically the Big Island. We went to Kona.
Yeah,
It was
beautiful.
absolutely amazing. But the first day in, Hallie was like, "I don't love you."
No, shut up. That I promise that did not happen. That's how.
To K2,
Well, listen.
I don't love you.
Listen,
you care
Linda,
too
listen,
much
listen,
about
listen.
money.
Well, gosh, don't say that. People are gonna believe that. That's not what happened. I'm not a monster. I guess. So we had a pretty bad argument leading up to Hawaii, and it was kind of hard for me to just forgive and forget that one. That was not super fun. But anyways, the argument that we had was like 2 days before we left for Hawaii. 2 days before.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just on my mind.
And it was
on
stupid, by the
repeat.
way.
It
Stupid.
was so stupid. That's the thing. Our arguments that we had, it was literally up until the Hawaii trip was the turning point. We had the dumbest arguments ever. It's so dramatic, so dumb, and so pointless. Why would we even let any of that affect us in the way it did? But I mean, again, that's just literally things that it's not normal to argue all the time. That's not what I'm saying. We did not argue all the time. But when we did argue about dumb things, they were just dumb things at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know.
And so
Being married can be tough.
it brings us to a little bit after the Hawaii trip that we kind of got over it in a way where we had a conversation. It was difficult, and we talked about how we are going to change, and we need to commit to that change rather than just saying we're going to change and not change.
Well, and it's a big thing.
I would say
too. Yeah, go ahead.
That
sorry.
we changed a pretty good amount. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
But I'm not perfect.
Well, the biggest thing is being able to make that sacrifice and put yourself aside, put your dignity aside. And it's like, if this is going to make the other person happy, if this is what I need to do for that person, I'm going to do it. Because at the end of the day, if your husband, wife, whoever is happy, you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
I can't just be happy and then expect K2 to be happy. That's not how it works. And that like halfway through our honeymoon, it was like a day or two before our actual anniversary. I remember having that conversation. We sat down and we were like, okay, this thing isn't working, this isn't working, this is working, we need to do this. We need to fix ourselves, because if we think our lives are hard now, we don't even have children. We don't. We have everything going for us. We are so fortunate in so many ways. And if we think that we have it hard right now, oh my gosh, then we got to get it together, because this is not going to work when we have kids, whatever. If any hard situation arises, we've got to get it figured out. And that was the conversation that we had. How we can be better, how we can fix this, and how we can do it.
It was a pretty difficult conversation, but now I guess we can go into, now that you know a little bit about the year, you kind of we can go into things that we have learned. What are the 3 things that you said? What we learned, what was hard, and
What we love.
what we love. First of all, you got to get a Google Calendar. You got to put things in the Google Calendar, like
To keep
date
your life
night.
straight. Yeah.
And keep your life straight. Yeah, you need to keep your life straight. You need to know what the other person is doing, and you need to know what you're doing, and then you need to know what you're both doing.
Yeah.
Because, for example, like I travel a lot, so she needs to know when I'm traveling.
Yes.
I need to know when she's going out with friends. I need to know when we're going on a date night, so then I don't plan on other friends coming here.
Yeah, and when we have family events, we always put it in
Family
the calendar.
events.
It's literally so key. I know it sounds so cliche, but if you put your lives on a calendar, it will help you. I promise. So that's one thing that we learned for sure.
Big learning point. Put everything you ever do in a calendar.
And then the other thing, again, you kind of touched on it, and I want to go back to it, but just being able to prioritize yourself as a couple. That is the that's the biggest, which we were doing that. We were doing that, but not to the extent that we are now. We prioritize ourselves a lot more now. We make time for each other. We try and do special things for each other, really try and take into consideration the other's love languages and all kinds of things like that.
And yourself, taking time for yourself.
Exactly.
Hallie reads a lot.
Hallie
She
reads.
hangs out with her friends. I make a lot of videos.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do anything and everything I can to do more than that. So whether
Yeah.
it be streaming, video games, whatever it is, to get my mind off not just work, but life in general.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out how can I do everything without stressing myself out. So these things about you prioritizing yourself helps
Yeah.
with those specific situations.
And I think kind of what you're, if I can summarize just what you were saying, I think one of the biggest things as well, prioritizing ourselves together, but like you said, prioritizing ourselves apart in the sense that we have our own lives at the end of the day. You know what I mean? We just come together because we're married and we live together and we love each other. But if you don't have things aside from your spouse, which I learned this the first year of marriage because it's just so important that you have things on your own that make you happy because you can't rely on your spouse to make you happy. And it's like, oh, well, I have reading and cooking and exercising and my friends and blah, blah, blah. Like, if I have all these things that make me happy, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I need Saketu to make me happy. And then that just will
Yeah.
cause an argument there in of itself.
Yeah, and I was like that. I was like, I don't think I prioritized that first year. I made the least amount of videos that year. I didn't prioritize what I loved doing at all because I thought I was like I need Hallie here. I need everything with Hallie. I need Hallie. That's all my.
You still were that way about food.
Well, I need Hallie for food.
But that's okay. That's okay.
But-
he does other things alone.
But like me not prioritizing my love for making videos
Yeah.
affected me in like the most negative way ever. Like
Yeah.
I'm a person, I need to do this. This is something I have to do. So I've been making videos every week on YouTube recently, and it has, even though it takes time away from Hallie and I's time,
That's okay.
it's okay because it's benefiting me to do something I really love doing. And then we'll just prioritize another time to hang out, whether it be on a Monday night or a Saturday night or whatever it is.
Like our date nights, and we do a coffee date every single week. I love that
Yeah.
so much. We literally just go and get coffee and sit and chat.
And another
It can
thing,
be any time of the day.
and another thing we learned to do is hanging out with like-minded people.
Yeah.
I think that's something we really started doing this year. We have met a lot of different couples who are in similar situations as us.
It's awesome.
Like
Yeah.
people getting married, people starting building a house together, people buying a house together, people moving in for the first time together, and we have had like double dates
crazy.
with them, and
Yeah.
being in an environment that others are going through as you're going through them makes it easier to talk about these subjects to those people. I think that helps us a lot. So the last topic that we're going to be talking about is why we always make it work and come back together. So Hallie, if you want to start.
Yeah. I mean, we always make it work. One, because we loved each other enough that we decided to get married 2 times.
Two times.
2 times.
2 times. If you haven't already watched the weddings, you have access to watch our
Yeah.
wedding videos, day one and day 2. It's a pretty intense video. I mean, it's
There are
amazing.
2 of them. Yeah.
So, shout out to our videographer, Alex. He's the best dog.com.
Alex and Corey killed it. And
yeah.
Heidi with the photos.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, guys, go check out our wedding photos if you haven't.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Yeah, I mean, well, so like I said, we got married 2 times. And we had a blast, can I just add? That was like the most, I mean, how many people are lucky enough to get 2 weddings? We had so much fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I mean, we were exhausted. I think I lost 10 pounds by the end of it.
10 pounds. I lost
Well,
like
we
9,
just-
I think.
We weren't, when it's your wedding, you're not eating the food that you pay so much money for. I didn't get to try any of the stuff that we had. So I hope our guests enjoyed. I think I got quite a few compliments they did, but you're not eating, you're dehydrated, and we danced for 3 days straight.
That was a lot of dancing.
We danced so, I mean, and if you, like, Saketu and I at parties or, like, weddings, especially our wedding, I've never gone as hard as I did then. That was
Yeah.
nuts. But anyway, so we always come back together at the end of the day because we met in August of 2015, and we've honestly been best friends ever since then. And even in the hardest days that we've had, I always remember that and how we were best friends before. I mean, seriously, we were best friends. We did
Yes.
everything together,
Yes.
so much together. And we've had such a solid relationship with each other the entire time that we've known each other. And to me, that's more special than anything. So it's like, I always remember how much we love each other, how much we do together. We're best friends. We have the same
And-
sense of humor. We just love to be together.
The last thing is learning each other's love language.
Yeah.
About how when we're in an argument situation, she needs just a little bit of time alone.
Think.
And I'm the kind of person who needs to solve the issue right away and talk about it and these things. And she knows that. So we have done this thing where we've compromised a little bit in the sense of like she's not going to take a full day to decompose. She just needs to.
I just need a little second.
She needs a little second.
myself.
She needs a little second.
I need
but
to hold Sylvie. I need to recoup.
Yeah, she needs to hold Sylvie, recoup, do all these things, and us knowing these things now on how to handle certain situations has helped us come back together every single time.
Yeah. And so why do you want to come back together every single time? Because I talked about that a little bit.
Oh, why do I want to?
Yeah.
Well, if I didn't, I wouldn't ever get food again. And that's
Okay.
a big problem.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. The
Come
main
on.
reason being, if I really would die of starvation.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we're done with the starvation with the food thing. Drop
All right.
that.
All right. I need
What really?
Well,
there has to be something.
the food is a big issue.
Oh my god.
But I do think that if I didn't, I really would die of starvation. And the final thing I want to mention is if I didn't, then I would lose my best friend.
Aw. I mean, that's true. Literally, I swear, we do. I mean, we do so many things apart, but we do so many things together that I think we both cherish a lot. And, you know, it's like he's the first person that I want to text when something good happens or when something bad happens or whatever it may be. He's always the person that I come to, and I want to be like, oh my gosh, guess
Yeah.
what just happened? Or whatever. And it's like, that would be so hard. And I don't ever want to lose that.
So overall, that's the story of our first year of marriage and what we've learned, things we love about it, and how we always come back together. Now I kind of want to go through some of our future topics.
Yeah.
We want to talk about what it's like being in an American Indian relationship,
How we met.
how we met.
That would be fun.
That's a really good one. What it was like going to college together, what it's like to
yeah.
work together,
In the corporate world, essentially. And
9 to 5s, and doing streams and YouTube and trying to make it
and
into
wedding
this,
and photo video stuff.
trying to make it in this content-driven world.
Yeah.
Okay, I
There's a lot.
will not stop till I make it in this content-driven world, and hopefully this podcast is one of these driving factors for us. This is just the beginning of Half Past Cha. I want you guys to comment and leave
Yeah.
anything that you think we should talk about.
Yes, please. That'd be
This
good.
is a very short episode from what is going to happen in the future. I'm going to try and get people on, whether it be some friends that we have that are in relationships that may want to talk about different subjects,
Yep.
or it could be of one of our single friends who just can't keep her mouth shut.
What?
I'm not talking about Christina. I might be,
Yeah, what the?
but she's going to be watching this podcast, and I kind of want her to know that
Christina, come on
She-
over. You need to put K2 in his place.
I think she would be a really good addition to the show because she can't keep her mouth shut. And we need people like that in this world. What? What are we talking about?
Okay, well, I guess those are some of the topics that we want to cover here on Half Past Cha.
Exactly. We're going to be spilling a bunch of tea, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we know somebody
excited.
who murdered somebody.
No, okay. No, we do not.
But we could know somebody that
we-
murdered somebody.
We should talk about the shows and movies that we like to watch.
Ooh.
That could be a fun little segment
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes.
Stuff-
We're going to be talking about
We should do movie reviews.
movie reviews. We're going to be watching Ant-Man Quantumania very soon.
Big
if you
Marvel
want to see
fans.
a movie review on that, that'd be
Oh, yeah.
great. That'd be a segment next podcast. But we're going to, the last thing I'm going to mention, we're going to India.
Yes.
So before we go to India, we're releasing our next podcast episode. And it is going to be about all the things that we're going to be doing, all the things that Hallie is excited and scared for.
Yeah. There's a lot.
And so it's going to be a big podcast. I'm excited to release that in 2 weeks. And that's all I have. So we have this little outro that we're working on. And Hallie, I don't know
I've
if you
drafted
wanted
it.
to,
You want me to
if
read
you
it?
wanted to say it.
I
think
do.
we're going to do it to where Hallie says the outro, since I always say the outro in my YouTube videos. So I'm going to give her a little bit of fame for her saying the outro here.
Yeah. All right. So here's my closeout, everyone. Get ready. Thank you for listening. Please share with your friends, family, fellow cha drinkers, and we will catch you next Monday at 1:30 Cha.
Thank you, everybody.